Story time!
Story time! Story time!
Story time! Story time! And then
Itch!
Hello and happy Thursday to you all. This is a almost special episode of the Two Lies and One Truth storytelling podcast. On this episode, we are highlighting 3 of our favorite stories so far, as well as 3 of our favorite artists featured. Timmy is presently gallivanting across Europe or somewhere, so it's just me, Christopher Fox. Our first story was featured on episode 1, and is read by Jareth Spirio, one of this show's favorite vocal artists. The second story is read by Timmy Vilgiati and was featured on episode 3. The final story on this show is read again by Jareth Spirio and was originally on episode 5. The music featured on this episode is from Stick and Poke, A Bad Night for a Hero, and Ceschi. Stick and Poke are starting their American tour, and it's something that you do not want to miss. Ceschi is always moving about and doing awesome stuff. To keep up with all of the artists featured on this episode, use the links in the descriptions or on social media. Have a fun time, and be sure to live a life worthy of story.
Grew up in Toronto and now we're far away. Keeping cozy in the West, still waiting for the day that we don't have to write column posts about how we've been abused. Why is it so hard to love someone and not be used? There are pockets of community, but all in all it's shit. Took a while to realize that we don't really fit into this great big city where we feel so alone. So we set off for the ocean, find a place to call our own. We'll find a little mountain and we'll climb right to the top. We'll grow our own vegetables and there won't be any cops. We'll build a little cabin and we'll live with all our friends. Make our own community and our hearts soon will mend. There isn't any snow, but instead it rains all day. The winters aren't as cold, but the sky is often gray. Reality is bittersweet and it tends to bring us down, but it helps to know when times are tough, there's friendship to be found.
I have a cat penis. Or had a cat penis. Not so much as has, have, or had, more I was in possession of a cat penis. It wasn't mine, but it helped me out a lot. Now, this isn't one of those gender reversal stories or species reversal. I'm not a cat, I'm just a kid trying to get through high school. Some people don't have any trouble getting through high school, but there are some of us that have bullies. For whatever reason, my bullies needed to hurt or pick on kids like me. So, I got a cat penis. Well, I didn't get the cat penis. It was given to me. You don't accept something like a cat penis from a stranger without a good cause, and I figured I had a pretty good cause at the time. I never asked the stranger where he got it. He just said it would keep them away from me. He? Maybe she? I don't know. The person gave me a cat penis. He gave it to me not too far into my freshman year. I guess freshman year is when, high school can break you. Do something bad enough, you're stuck in it for 4 years. That seemed pretty scary to myself, so I chose not to do anything. The thing about not doing anything is it's not possible. People take notice and start messing with you, testing the water, and at first it wasn't anything bad, just pushing and minor name calling. It might not have progressed, but I fed into it. I fed the trolls. And the bullying started to get worse. They would punch me, take my stuff. I don't know how an addict feels, but I know the feeling of hiding yourself. Taking different hallways just to not get harassed. Spending too much time in the principal's office with a group of kids waiting on the soccer field would get bored and go home. That all changed, though. They don't do that anymore. No one really gets close. All because of the cat penis. Or all because of the stranger. Never saw the stranger again, but this is how it all happened. I'm just walking one day, and the usual herd of kids comes down and shoves me, and I offer no resistance, and I've offered no resistance for some time. I guess I'm an easy target. No real creativity was allowed in these kids' minds for anything they tried. It was just bare barbarism. Every day was the same. No matter what route I would take home, these kids would find me. It was like I had an aura or something they just felt. Maybe they followed me, or one of them did. It's weird. Picking myself up in the usual manner, I heard a voice not too far off to my right. I braced for the kick or the punch that usually follows, but I didn't even hear what the voice said. It just easier in those situations to block everything out.
Hey, kid!
I thought I heard something that time, like someone beckoned me. Turning around, I could find nobody present, and I heard it again. Like, I know I heard the voice because I was listening. I wasn't blocking out sensory information anymore. I was curious.
Hey, kid!
I spun around again, and I could not place the voice in any recognizable space. Scared, like really scared, I stammered out the only words that came to my mind. God? Is that you? A snicker erupted as the voice followed.
I've often thought that of myself. But no, I'm over here in the bushes.
Sure enough, I could make out a faint figure outline in the bushes not far away. Hesitantly, I walked over. I never met God before. I wasn't really sure what to do or what to say, how to act, but I knew that I just had to be there and talk to that figure in the bush.
I got something for you, kid. It'll help you out.
Snickers erupted now whenever the voice spoke. It was a comforting sound because it made God sound more human. Like it had a sense of humor. It was disarming for myself to hear, and it's just nice to hear the laughter. Like laughter for actual happiness in the world. Closing the gap, the laughter became almost uncontrollable for the bush. I had to join in. We stayed there for a moment, and I think both recognizing how joyous the occasion was. What do you have for me, God? Will it make the bullies go away? We stayed in a moment of laughter a while longer after the question. God, there in the bush, wanted to say yes, that it did have something. This is how the prophets must have felt. Like pure happiness and elation, laughing with God.
Yeah, kid. I got something for you right here, kid.
A long, dirty arm extended from the bush. It had something furry. The ethereal arm broke a barrier, because a smell not noticed before began to waft my nose. The hand called for me to take the furry item. Forgetting the nauseous smell or even my surroundings, I asked with pure joy and elation, "This will get rid of those bullies, God?" We both broke into another long laughter, before God told me it would. He was sure it would. That's all I needed to hear. I ran right after those bullies. Then and there, I wanted this all to end. Running and racing in the direction those bullies headed to, I started to see them. My lungs burned, but I was determined. The furry member firmly in my grasp. I screamed to them, a scream that stopped the kids in their tracks. I ran to them and held the furry object right for them to see. They paused in astonishment. Recognizing the courage in me to stand up to them, I think they feared me. They must have felt the change in my aura because I spoke to God.
Gross! Ew, is that a penis? Stay away from us, you...
It was working! This furry object held in my hand was working! I confidently showed it to them more and walked closer to them, half crazed, half zombie walking towards my bullies with a gift from God, and it was working! Looks kind of pink and like it's Twizzler.
No, just get out of here.
Penis.
As I stood there, watching them run away, run back home, away from the power of God, I attended church every Sunday after that day. I even went to the weekday services that nobody knows about. I'd often go back to that bush and just sit. Sit with the gift and hope a conversation would happen again. It never did, though, but the bullies never messed with me again. No one did, really. The charm worked so well that nobody wanted anything to do with me. My entire plan worked after all. I survived the 4 years of high school without any incidents. Because when God has your back, you can do anything. Or I guess if you just believe it. I stopped carrying around the cat penis after I figured out the stranger was probably just a homeless man tripping on acid. It didn't matter, though. None of the kids wanted anything to do with me. 4 years clear because I did something right once. Once is all you need if you're crazy enough. Sometimes you just need to hold something crazy in your hands for reality to clear away. Sometimes you need a lucky charm to get out of a bad situation. Even if it's a cat penis.
Yeah, that does look like your mom's.
I can't tell if the girl or the carnival rides got me shaking inside, just play it cool. I feel my heart coming out. Is it good, is it bad luck if I die in here with you? But tell me what's a boy to do? So we stumble through the exit. I hear that Brandon almost died. So we climb hear my fear of frightening heights. And I can see us getting higher, and you can see your house from here. And a million times your lips touch mine, and that alone just made my year. I can't tell if the girl or the carnival rides come.
Something felt really familiar. But, I mean, it's probably just because I come to this grocery store a lot. Probably come here more like maybe 500 times or something. I mean, it's really close to home. And it's also right next to the park, which is super great. I filled up my gas tank and I was taking care of errands to finish up the day and stuff. I wanted to hit the store before I went home since I needed a new toothbrush. My toothbrush right now looks like death, and it tastes like it too. For some reason, I'm always really bad at remembering to buy a new toothbrush. And that's probably because I'm just like really bad at brushing my teeth, which is probably because I'm just really bad at a lot of things. I mean, except for planning for grocery shopping and longboarding, I've come to the conclusion that at most things I just generally suck. I mean, for example, my friend Darius let me borrow his Xbox 3 weeks ago. Accidentally, I spilled a bottle of Mountain Dew on it when I was trying to keep my cat away from the Fritos. Not since I hate my cat or anything, but because Fritos always give him really bad gas. And when my cat gets gas, I can't sleep because I suck at sleeping almost as bad as I suck at taking care of things my friends let me borrow, and my cat always sleeps with its asshole pointed right at my damn face. Tried to put the Xbox in a bag of rice for a little bit, and I told Darius I was just really busy babysitting my sister, even though my sister was at space camp. I was so embarrassed that I just kept ducking Darius over and over again, trying to scrape up enough money to buy him a new Xbox. When I turned the Xbox on after I'd taken it out of the rice, it showed an image, but it was clearly super broken since it only displayed things in Chinese and it wouldn't load past the save screen. I was totally devastated. I mean, what was worse? I only had like $200 from my last paycheck since the place I work is constantly on the brink of going out of business, and they don't want to give me too many hours so they can avoid paying for my health insurance. I didn't have the heart to call Darius. Darius kind of scares me. I mean, he's not that threatening, but he is actually really nice. It's just that I saw him play the drums once in his metal band, and ever since I spilled my Mountain Dew on his Xbox, I've been having nightmares about him beating me to death with his drumsticks. I needed to buy some gum, spinach, tortillas, bagels, cream cheese, ranch dressing, carrots, Fritos, Mountain Dew, and a toothbrush. Stretching my back as I left the car, I slammed the door shut and started galumping towards the store. I looked down at my watch. It was 4:37. I probably had like 20 minutes before the acid kicked in. Oh, I should have mentioned that. It's been on my bucket list to try acid for a while, and I figured the park behind the store would be really cool to trip in. You have this mural where these little Eskimo-looking children all chase after a bear underneath a rainbow, and I've always felt like those little Eskimo children have super trippy eyes. If I ever get bored with that, though, there's another mural with some trees that I helped paint in 3rd grade. I can always spot my tree since it looks like a little shriveled up cat penis. So I'll look at that and I'll think about how much of a disappointment I am while I trip on acid. Sounds fun, right? My first thought when I entered the store was, it looks like the spinach is over there. But it was the spinach that you have to put in the bag yourself, and I don't have time for that. I couldn't find the pre-bagged spinach. It looked like they were out. Damn it. They were. Irritated, I pulled at my hair and shut my eyes, trying to think of what I could do. I didn't know why this was so stressful. I breathed deep and realized I didn't have a cart, so I went to go get a cart. There's a sort of hot girl by the carts, working on stacking bottles of Gatorade next to the big giant air conditioner thing at the entrance to the grocery store. I looked up into it, and suddenly I panicked as I realized it was pulling me up. I ran away. Oh, I guess the acid's kicking in. Oh, but the guy who sold me this said it was really mellow acid, and he's the same guy who sold me the bootleg Japanese Pokemon game and an ounce of really good weed, so I know he's trustworthy. I figured I could probably pull off this shopping trip, even if it meant I might have to do it on acid. I grabbed a cart and I headed in, trying to keep my head down so I could avoid being freaked out by the air conditioner again. The cart's wheel squeaked way too much, and the sound made me want to murder someone, so I went back and I got another cart. The hot girl looked at me, since I guess I looked a little bit intense. This cart's full of noise and I hate it. I almost spat at her. My voice seemed weird. I guess it seemed weird to her, too. She started frowning, and I got really sad. Please don't cry. It's not your fault that I suck. She smirked. Shaking, I grabbed another cart. Thankfully, this one was a lot better. It was a little bit heavy on one side, but it was the sort of thing I could deal with, you know? You can't expect every shopping cart you pick up to be perfect. Just like you can't always get the pre-bagged spinach, and sometimes you do the best you can, and even if you mean well, it's not good enough. And a million thoughts started flooding through my mind about life and the universe and, like, everything. As I grabbed 6 bundles of loose-leaf spinach in a wholehearted embrace of destiny. I was tripping balls, man. The spinach was breathing, and I could tell for a moment it was alive, or at least dying. It was like a little baby. It was sleeping, and here I was. I was about to take it home, and I was going to eat it. I held the spinach up to my face and whispered to it through the bag. I'm so sorry, I said, as I put the spinach down into the bag. I caught sight of someone familiar, someone menacing, someone who looked like they wanted to kill me. It was Darius, sitting appropriately down by the butcher's and leering at me. He knew what I'd done. He was gonna come after me and take his revenge, and I'd wake up in an ER room where I'd be so brain damaged, traumatized, that I'd forget how to wipe my own butthole, and I'd have a seizure every time I saw a drumstick. Mortified beyond belief, my hair stood on end. Darius started towards me, moving like a terrifying, bloodthirsty monster. He had a pentagram on his wrist, which I could see clearly. Oh my god. He must be some kind of satanic freak. I looked at his long, knotted hair, and I imagined him washing it in the blood of children and people who don't take care of his stuff before kneeling before a candlelit altar and uttering prayers to Lucifer. I bolted away, running with my cart through a line of old people waiting to buy lotto tickets, and headed towards the deli. I hid there in the deli behind a display of nice cheeses for about 5 minutes before I stood up, coming to grips with myself. As I did so, I caught sight of the myriad cheeses in the display. Gouda, Blue, Parmesan. Some of them with fanciful names I couldn't even pronounce. Like I held them up in front of me. No one had to suffer to make these cheeses. Why did I ever eat anything else? I wondered what it'd be like to only eat cheese. Before I resolved to make that daring life choice, and I filled the bottom of my cart with cheese. "You sure like cheese, don't you, buddy?" asked the attendant. I looked up at him. He was judging me. He didn't understand. He was making fun of me. I got very angry. "I eat cheese because I don't like murder," I growled. Over his shoulder, I caught sight of Darius again, emerging from the cereal aisle, murderously clutching a box of Lucky Charms. I whispered to the customer service person, "That man wants to kill me. I need to run." My heart pounding, I made my way back to the place where they have bagels. Realizing that bagels probably didn't have to suffer in order to exist, I got a dozen bagels, and then, thinking that Darius could read my mind, I tried to think intensely about buying potatoes so that he'd go to the potatoes while I looked for tortillas instead. I really like the whole grain tortillas because they make me feel more culturally savvy. Unfortunately, I realized that the tortillas were right next to the potatoes a little bit too late, and sure enough, Darius was now making his way down the tortilla aisle, a demonic and sinister smile on his face. I wondered what powers he'd gotten from Satan other than reading minds. In order to avoid seeming suspicious, I grabbed potatoes, even though I think potatoes suck in real life, to try and throw Darius off my trail. Casually, I turned around and began to focus on the next items on my list. But that's when it hit me. I was tripping on acid. I was probably imagining Darius was there. It was my guilt, personified in some strange, ethereal hallucination. Still hustling, I tried to pretend Darius wasn't creeping closer and closer to me and searched through the granola bars. It gave me relief to think he was just a figment of my imagination. I mean, from time to time, I'd look at something and almost scream when I thought I felt Darius's icy cold breath in the back of my neck. But he wasn't coming for me. It was just a hallucination. He appeared at the end of the aisle just then, this time with a cart, and upon seeing me, his face began to shapeshift. I didn't know for sure, but it felt real. Maybe my mom and my youth pastor were right. Maybe LSD does open portals for demonic influence. This was the devil, masquerading as my friend. I became so certain of it. He lured me into the psychedelic world in order to drag me into hell. On the news, they'd report it as a mysterious suicide or a heart attack. Only myself and the devil would know the truth. I shoved the cart towards him to throw him off, and I ran. Not today, Satan. Not today. Today I was going to live. I ran towards the back of the store, back towards the butcher shop where I'd first seen Darius, and I dove for the employee section. Someone went back to try to stop me. I kept running. Now that I recognized the disguise, though, Satan was right behind me, looming over me and pursuing me like a shadow. I ran through row upon row of shelving before cowering behind the paper towels. 3 employees were looking after me. Were looking for me. What could I do? I saw an exit sign. A bright green one. Breathing in deeply, I made a run for it, crashing into the bar and heading to a ravine that separated the park from the store. I slid down the edge and landed really weird on my hip. Oh, it hurt so bad. Oh, I was dead. I must have been dead. The devil is coming for me.
Michael,
I heard a voice in my head tell me,
you must beg your friend for forgiveness, or I will take your soul.
what would happen if I let the devil take my soul?
You'll become my slave. Do it now.
Panting heavily, I pulled out my cell phone and flipped it open, dialing Darius's number. Oh, hey, dude, what's up? He asked. I spilled my Xbox. I tried to fix it. I did. My cat was trying to eat my Fritos, and I didn't want to get cats again, so I had to. I didn't mean to. I just had to. I didn't have a choice, man. I'm so sorry. Darius laughed. Dude, it's totally chill, man. I did the same thing last month. I legit just saw you in the store, man. I was gonna see if you wanted to chill. Are you okay? I took some acid, and I thought you wanted to kill me. I guess that really was you, though. Oh, dude, you're tripping. Yeah, I am. Oh, nice. Oh, let's go hang out at the park, dude. That mural with the weird Eskimo kids looks really cool when you're tripping.
Don't fucking stare at me, I am not in the mood. And just saw some kid's face get mashed and bloody like it just came out the womb. These power structures are not real, but you're feeling that you're better than me because of your job. You're cleaning toilet bowls and pissy shitty steak made boxer shorts locked up. You're no boss, you're a slave. They want us to believe that some of us are greater than others in here, but it's all distracting us from the fact that we're all lower than humans in the eyes of society. Today I stripped, squatted, and coughed like yesterday, and lifted my scrotum for cops who analyzed my asshole with the shame of a shitting dog. I gathered spit between lips, but swallowed it all.
Hello, my name is Jareth Spirio. I'm going to be reading a story called An Interesting 72 Hours. It was submitted by an anonymous author. I woke up at 7 a.m. on Friday. I had an 8 a.m. class, and I thought I would at least make an attempt to go. I'm not really sure why. It had been a few weeks since I went to the class. It was pre-calculus. Ugh. When I finally got ready, I was late, but I sat down anyway. Teacher didn't seem to recognize me, but didn't say anything. You see, I'm a kind of person that people look at and talk about later, but they sure don't make any mention of my person while I'm in earshot. Sitting in that class, I remembered why I never came. It was boring. The teacher could have been talking Greek, and I might have understood what they were saying more than what they were actually saying. Math is hard. Or at least this math. I can count. I can count eighths, quarters, halves, ounces, grams. Did you know that 28 grams is an ounce? 30 is a European ounce. 14 grams is a half. 7 grams is a quarter. And 3.5 grams is an eighth. Each has its own money valuation. You better believe that I can count money, too. My favorite's counting 20s. 5 20s is 100. 20 20s is 400, or a quarter pound. I got a pretty sweet deal on full elbows. Not the best, but they were all right. I'm sorry. I'm full pounds. That was 110 20s, but when doing that much, it's better just to talk Benjamins, eh? I can count profit, too. At 2,200 a bow, that breaks down to 16 ounces, which is about 137 an ounce. Not the best. The best would be about 100 to 120, but can't skip on quality just for quantity. You lose customers that way. The most I can make in an ounce around here is about 180 to 200, which means a profit of 50-ish to 70-ish dollars per ounce, that is. Which breaks down into 800-ish to 1,100-ish dollars profit per bow. That's not a lot, but I could do it every 2 weeks. What I prefer is to take it elsewhere. Places that up to 180 to 200, they go to 300 to 350, and that's much better profit. It looks about 160-ish to $210 per ounce, which translate to about $2,500-ish to $3,300 profit per bow. And I could never bring enough. I could bring 5 elbows every weekend for a month straight and still never have enough. That's right, I could make $15,000 profit every single weekend if I wanted. It's just, there's a high risk with that, but sometimes the risk is worth the reward. See? I can count. And daydream time away. Class ended as soon as it began, and I guess going in late helps, and thinking about stuff I actually care about. Money, that is. Thinking about all that through class got me going. So I made some calls out of state and got things in motion. I spent all my money on a recent drug binge, so I called up a close contact and got me an elbow fronted. Came at a higher price, but he knew I was good for it. And if I wasn't, he would kill me, so it really wouldn't matter. I always hated making trips out of state alone, so I called up some friends and asked if they wanted to go on a trip of a lifetime. Of course they did. Who wouldn't want free drugs and a feeling of complete freedom? I spent the better part of that day making sure everything was solid, checked the quality of the items. It was Gucci. All I needed was to wait until night and then go. I hated traveling west through the mountains at night because of animals, but less people would be on the road at the time, and so we'd move quicker. Cops would be more likely to pull us over, but that was a risk we're willing to take. So, night comes, and my friends wanted to check the quality again. They were just using me to get high, but I didn't care. I enjoyed the company. Selling drugs is a lonely life. We smoked in my car, and when we finished, I guess the quality was pretty prime because one of those dumbasses forgot to close his door. We didn't notice, though, but I guess some cops on patrol did. Luckily, everything of major note, outside of our bags, was not in the vehicle itself. So, just before we were going to leave, I got a call from a frantic friend that was going on the trip. He said cops were surrounding my vehicle. Panic mode. No way could they have known about the wait. So we moved to the location off campus as soon as my phone started to blow up from the police. I didn't answer. Everything needed to be secure before I could answer. I also needed to come to terms with the consequences of my actions before I could answer. If they took the weight away, I was dead. If I went to prison, I would probably have been beat up severely or killed due to my cocky attitude. Neither seemed really fun, but seemed like the only choices I had. Once the weight was secure at another location, I came to terms with going to prison. It seemed like I would have a better chance there than having to deal with an angry drug dealer here. Here, this drug dealer would have a gun, and I would have never been seen again. In prison, they would have shanks and other items, but that I figured I had a better chance against. So, summing up the courage, I called the cops back. They wanted to meet at my car, and I agreed. It had been a few hours since first contact, and I didn't know what was going through their minds, and they didn't know what was going through mine. Got a ride back to my car and got dropped off not so far away, just out of sight. Walked up, and there was a person standing guard. Upon seeing me, he questioned me and then called for another car. He left when they showed up. One pretty mean cop walked out and stared me down. Don't think it was what he expected. "You're Mr. And he read off some paper. He read my name. I said, "Yes, sir, I am." I was fully ready in that moment to go to jail, but there was no reason to give myself up. Needed to keep a poker face and find out what they knew. "Well, we were driving by and I saw your door open and decided to go close it, and it looked like nobody was around. Upon getting within 3 feet of your vehicle, a heavy aroma of marijuana came to my nose. I have to tell you, sir, your car smells the heaviest of marijuana that I have ever smelled in my life. Due to this, I had to search your vehicle, and upon searching, I found these items." Okay, so far they knew I smoked weed in my car. A lot of weed. They found multiple felony accounts in my friends' backpacks, and they found my information by searching the vehicle. I said nothing, and the cop continued. "Are, these items yours?" "No, sir." "That's what we thought. Well, we'll just go ahead and get rid of these items. You have a good night, and, work on the smell in your car. We just wanted to make sure no harm came to your person." I was dumbfounded. I had always heard that being white came with privilege, and I was seeing it right in front of my eyes. They let me go. I got in my car as the cop watched. I drove away, picked up my friends, drove to where the weight was, bought some Adderall for the drive, took that, and started off to sell the weight some 14 hours away. Leaving at 1 a.m. would make us arrive near 3 p.m. We could have the weight off our hands by 8 p.m., and then the rest of the night would be free to party before heading back home for school. The others actually went to class sometimes, more than I did. I was just here in the moment, enjoying the easy money, the easy flow of drugs. I hated the loneliness of it all, though. 7 p.m. on Saturday came, and I was right. Everything went quick. Kept enough to stay high all night and through the drive home. Also found some more Adderall to stay awake through Saturday. Always was able to drink a lot more when I took Adderall. Saturday night, we hit up a few parties. My friends left me at one because I was talking to a foreign chick. Hooked up with her before I met back with my friends to go home. That was at 5 a.m. on Sunday morning. I've been awake since 7 a.m. on Friday thanks to Addie, and I drove home, money in hand from another successful and eventful weekend. I even got laid. Got home around 6 p.m. and was finally able to calm my mind down enough to sleep by 9. I was up the whole time. For the better part of Sunday, I was hallucinating during the drive. I tried to get one of my friends to drive because I was tired of seeing stuff run across and around the road. He lasted about 30 minutes before he couldn't do it anymore. So I took the wheel back. Worthless people. Why did I even bring them along? I mean, they almost got me caught and put in jail. Took my drugs for free, and didn't even hang out with me at the parties. And couldn't even drive a car. I know they had more sleep than I did, but whatever. Hallucinating it all, I got us home. Never really spoke to them again. But, I mean, hey. At least it was a fun weekend.
Na 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 na. Termites are eating my home and squirrels laugh at me through the walls. I hate to admit it, but most days I wake up and follow the laws. And I used to dream my beliefs would lead me onto barricades with Molotovs. But most days they lead me straight to a line at the post office to send zines to someone behind bars. Na 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 na. This city is killing me. Pretty sure New Haven PD wants all of my friends to go down. I walk down to Whaley and think of my fellow felons sleeping on overcrowded room grounds. My girlfriend can't handle the lifestyle I lead, so I wander around this country, sleep on couches, play shows to 20 kids hoping they'll house me. Sorry, I'm allergic to cats. Na 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 na. Some just talk a good game, I can't even do that. Some just wanna look cool, I don't even wear black. Some just want an excuse for crime and destruction. I'm too afraid to shoplift, cause last time I got busted. And I can promise you this, Officer Smith, you don't need to piss test me or rearrest me. I'm just playing these shows, I'm a law-abiding citizen. Please give me my license back. I no longer sell crack, I'm just 33, rapping broke, trying my hardest to cope on the road. Almost all of my homies know that. Na 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 na. Na 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 na.